I have I never had an opportunity to meet Robin Williams, but somebody who I thought knew him well said that if Robin is speaking to you one-on-one, he's sort of just like the rest of us. But as soon as 2 or 3 people gather, he turns it a little bit more into the Robin Williams that we're all familiar with, the sort of more manic, funny, fun. Do you notice that about him?
I did not notice that on this movie. I'm trying to think, maybe if we were all sitting around waiting for the camera or something. No, he more was very into himself. I mean, he would talk to me, of course, and to Ditto, but he wasn't.
He was not funny. He wasn't doing.
He never did funny ever. He never did funny. He never did manic. He never did loud.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay, so I mean, he's.
And I don't know if he was already sick. Who knows?
Yeah, it was very close to his end.
I know.
Within months. Within
There's
a few months.
And he had Lewy body syndrome. Am I right about that?
I don't know the name of it, but it's an Alzheimer's type of.
Yeah, maybe he was already. I don't know now.
And again,
I shouldn't say that because I know nothing.
Yeah, it is called Lewy body disease and Lewy body dementia.
Yeah.
He is one of the very, very
terrible
few comedians who start as a comedian and end up. Jim, can you think of anybody?
Well, it's like Michael Keaton, kind of. I mean, it's Michael Keaton-esque.
It is. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
But
I'm just wondering if Jim, can you think of an example of anybody who really kind of started off like Jerry Lewis and ended up like Robert De Niro?
Yeah.
Or like, is there anybody you can think of that even comes close to the transformation?
Nobody who had anywhere near the comic chops that Robin Williams had. No.
Yeah, because
almost, a lot of comedians, you get Eddie Murphy, or you get everybody wants to be in the movies. Everybody wants to be in the movies,
comedians are good actors, aren't they?
In
general.
A lot of times they are.
Yeah.
I guess you could kind of make a case for Jim Carrey.
Oh, Jim Carrey. Yeah. That's a good one.
There you go.
Well, he's a brilliant guy. I remember when I was doing a terrible movie, or just done a terrible movie, and it was Navy SEALs. It was with Charlie Sheen, and I was out partying with Charlie Sheen, and
that's for a whole other podcast.
well, you know what? When I did the movie Navy SEALs, Charlie was like sober like the entire time.
Okay.
He was like, I don't know where he was in his life. He was funny, fun. He was young, like 21, 22. He was getting $3 million for the movie. He's like, and he was very smart, very, very quick sense of humor, smart sense of humor. But anyway, I was at that club, Jim's. It's right next to the Comedy Store on Sunset. You might remember the name of that club. But I was in that club, and I was with Charlie, and Jim Carrey came up and said, "Are you the guy from the Terminator? Are you?" Yeah. And I was like, "Oh yeah." And I said, "Oh my God, you're on In Living Color. You're the guy on In Living Color." And I immediately went like, "Wow, dude, you are so talented. You are so I can't, because I don't have any problem letting people know.
Yeah,
how you are so God. You are so good. You're so good." And he looked at me and he said, "Yeah, but I want to do what you do.
Oh, he did.
I want to do what you do."
Wow.
And
how did you feel about that?
Well, yeah, I just good. Yeah, good. Well, he obviously not only did what I did, he did what I did better than I did. It's just kind of a story of a guy who kind of knew what he wanted and went out. I'll tell you about Oh yeah, we got to stop. But I'll tell you my other story from In Living Color, which is what were the brothers' names? Jim?
Wayans.
The Wayans.
The Wayans, but which ones? Not the guy.
Damon.
Damon. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm living in Studio City. Okay.
Okay.
And I'm sitting on my porch, and Jim knows this story, but and Kaylin might too. But I'm sitting on my porch, and I look down the street, and I see these two people in suits going from door to door down the driveways, knocking on the door, coming up the next driveway, knocking on the door in suits, and I'm thinking, okay, here they come, right? And I'm on my front porch, and I thought to myself, I just go inside, just ignore them. I don't want to, whatever. And then I said to myself, no, really, why should I change? I'll just sit there, and when they come up and they give me the, I forget the name of
Jehovah's Witness.
Leaflet, yeah.
What's it called?
The Lighthouse or something like that.
Yeah, it is something like that.
Lighthouse.
Yeah, and I'll just take it and say thank you very much. And I was sitting there, and I watched them come next door. I kind of watched them I was reading or something like that at the time, and I felt them walking up, and they said, "Excuse me," and I said, "Yeah," and I was like, "You're Damon Wayans. You're Damon Wayans," and he said, "From In Living Color. I know who you are." Oh my God! What are you? I kind of wanted to say, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What in God's name are you doing? But it was Damon Wayans.
What was he doing?
He's part of that church.
Oh, he is a Jehovah's Witness.
Yes, and
Wow.
he, from what I understand, because I looked into it a little bit, because it was just so shocking.
Yeah.
Just because I wanted to ignore, and all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, I love you. I think you're the greatest thing in the, from what I understand, the church took his family in when they were young, and when the kids were all young, when the brothers were all young, and looked after them, and they grew up in the church in a loving kind of situation. And 30 years later, or
crazy.
35, 40 years later, he still feels I don't know if you call it an obligation, but a desire to spread the word that these people helped me.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's wonderful, actually.
Cool.
Yeah.
I just thought of something.
Please.
Lily Tomlin can be put in the same mix. A comedian.
I would say that. I
right?
would say that for sure.
Oh, good. Thank you. I don't know why. It just occurred to me.
I'm trying to think
Don't
of.
agree? Do you remember her in, the famous one? Nashville. It's called, actually, Nashville. Remember?
Well,
Is that the name of it?
Yeah, she was in that.
Oh, remember when he's singing that song to her?
listen,
was
I was too
beautiful.
busy looking at Goldie Hawn when she was doing the telephone lady.
Lapping, yeah.
I didn't pay that much attention to her comedic chops on laughing. I was too busy looking at Goldie Hawn, who Kurt obviously ended up marrying. But,